This tool is for use by experts. When we talk about seeding, we're depending initially on the software engineer's existing knowledge of the system. So the software engineer knows that they're going to look at draw IO. They're interested in this IO feature. They're going to grab the package, they're going to drag it over and drop it here. That immediately changes the three panels above us. The first thing we're going to do is expand the center panel to take a closer look at what we've just dragged over. These files are all contained within this package. The next step then is to look at the relationship both in and out of these files. On the left we have incoming dependencies. So if I expand this, we get a list of folders, and within each one of these folders will be several files, and each one of these has a incoming dependency with the feature we've selected. On the right hand side we have the same, but only it's an outgoing relationship, and again we can expand these. This isn't a list of all the files in the folder, it's only the files that have a direct relationship to the feature that we have selected at the moment. Some of these are bolded. The bolding is based on an algorithm, the sensitivity of which we can adjust here by the sliding bar at the top. And as we slide to the right, you'll see more and more of the dependencies become bolded, and as we slide to the left, less and less become bolded. This bolding is based on an algorithm by Robillard, which looks at the amount of incoming or outgoing calls. If I press the button here, you'll notice that now I'm only looking at the bolded elements, and again if I move the slider, you'll see the bolded items on this list. It's only showing us the suggested or bolded items. For the moment I'll remove that. We're going to take a look at a closer granularity of some of these relationships. In this case I've decided that I'm going to look at the ODG folder, and you'll notice that the panel on the bottom right hand corner has now become populated, and we're going to look at the three tabs that are related to those. First of all, we're looking at the relationship to the feature that we have here, and we're actually looking at the files and line numbers involved that actually access features within this code. If we click to the incoming relationships, we've now expanded that to not only include the relationships with our feature, but all the relationships. And by clicking on outgoing, we see all the outgoing relationships. And now we're going to look at going down another level of granularity, and this time we're going to go down to the actual source level and have a look at some source code. You'll notice here that the odgview.java, we can expand this, and here we have a list of several references from that file and the relating line numbers. We can pick one of these and double click on it, and here we see the exact line where the reference is made to the feature. If I right click, now I can jump directly to the target that this is looking at, and here we open up another window, image output format, and we're looking at the file that this particular relationship was discussing. So far we haven't changed the feature. We've looked at incoming dependencies, we've looked at outgoing dependencies, and we've drilled down to the source code level to have a look at exactly where in those files those relationships are. Now I've decided that I'm going to actually start to expand the feature a little bit, and maybe this bolded file here, image transferable, should actually be mapped to the feature, and I'm going to move that across. In fact, I think I'll actually map the whole folder. Now we can see our feature has changed. These added files are now part of the feature. Notice though, when I mapped the folder, it was only the files that had a relationship to the feature that came across. There is of course many other files in that folder which I'm not interested in and haven't been mapped to the feature. I'm going to switch over to the incoming dependencies here. We've seen how we can add something to a feature. Now I want to start thinning this down a little bit, and I want to start making some decisions about some of the files here. For instance, I want to mark this as processed. This means that these files I've decided are definitely not part of the feature. I've already considered them and excluded them, and in fact not only have I marked them as processed, I can simply flick this switch up here and they're no longer displayed. Now we're trying to understand a little bit about this nano XML on the top right hand corner, and to do that I'm going to use the graphic feature that we have down the bottom. I'm going to take that and I'm going to drag it down here. We immediately see it pop up, and we see a number that represents the number of relationships between our feature and that component we've just dragged down.